Hello, I'm Joshua Meekins and the garden is growing. I want to share with you what I am doing with my trial Three Sister planting this year. I've never done this before. It's been around for a very long time. The indigenous people of the Americas have introduced this planting technique. And what it is, it's planting three crops together. You have corn, climbing beans, and squash. They work together, and the climbing beans will be able to climb up the corn stalk. It provides support for the climbing beans. The beans can have some effect on adding nitrogen to the soil in the right conditions, and the squash can help act as a living mulch around the perimeter of the beds. So I'm going to go over all the details of what we have going on. We have three different circles with three types of beans and three types of squash to be able to see how well each work, to be able to improve for next year. I've been already sharing a lot about this on Instagram and TikTok, and I thought this would be a great first video for my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining me. Let's get into it. So we planted the corn, we waited until the corn was about 5 to 7 inches tall, then we planted the beans, then we waited about a week, and then we planted the squash seeds. So our first circle here, we have sweet corn, we have the climbing beans. It's something I've been trying to pronounce. It's like Bahilda, but it's a purple climbing bean, and so far it's overtaking the corn. And I'll show you what we did to help with that. For the squash, we have butternut squash. We're actually planning on using it for baby food since we have a little one in the house. For our second circle, the one in the middle, this one's actually about 2 weeks behind the other two because I dug up the corn. What happened initially was we planted the same sweet corn on both of the end circles, but I planted a white corn in this circle before learning how much corn can cross-pollinate and affect the corn the same year. Unlike some things that if they cross-pollinate, they only affect the seeds for the following year, and it won't be the same thing that you're growing the same year. So with that, I went ahead and removed the corn. It was still only, very small. Some of it hadn't even sprouted yet. But I went ahead and planted the sweet corn, and then I waited for the squash. This one we're doing zucchini. We're trying zucchini for the squash. And the climbing beans are red scarlet. They're a lot more maintained on this one. They haven't outgrown as much as the red beans. So they're about halfway up the corn right now, doing a great job holding onto the corn as it climbs. And our third planting here, I believe, is doing the best. For the squash, we have spaghetti squash. For the beans, we have a Kentucky Wonder pole bean. And again, it's the same sweet corn. After learning about the cross pollination of the corn, we're doing it all the same. So this one was one of the original plantings. I didn't have to pull this one and plant new corn. So this one I think is by far the most uniform. And let me go ahead and show you the support that we have in the middle with the wheel. I believe it was a combination of planting too shallow and maybe some watering that wasn't deep enough. It just didn't have enough room for the roots to hold up the plants. When the middle one fell over, I did let it just sit to see how well it was going to stand up on its own, and it started growing a little sideways. That's when I decided to add support for all three of them. But we have the wheel in there, and then we just have some jute twine loosely around the corn here, so the stalk can still move around, but it just can't fall over. So I think it's a really good setup for it. The Kentucky Wonder pole beans are, I think, perfect for a Three Sisters planting, at least for the type of bean that they are. because they're going at a good rate for how fast everything's growing. And it's really cool. We actually have some additional growth over on this one. That's kind of the first one to get to that stage. No ears of corn yet. A little bit more about me. I'm 29, live in Central Virginia with my wife and 3 sons, and I've been gardening in my adult life for 7 years, and I also had a garden when I was a kid growing up in Maryland. I do experiments in the garden, like the 3 different sisters plantings and the different beans and squash to see how well it works together. I'm looking forward to doing some more experiments into the fall and next year. I'll share with you what I learn along the way. I'm definitely not an expert. I'm trying to increase my gardening knowledge in pretty much every aspect. This space we've only been growing in since about 2019, 2020. There was nothing here before. It was just overgrown space. So we've been developing this area for our home garden, and it's come along really nice. So this is a hobby that I love to do. I love sharing what I learn and learning from others as well. Let's see, so this is my first YouTube video. So what am I supposed to say? Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment. There you go. And I can't wait to share more from our garden going forward. Until next time, hope you are able to spend some time in your garden today.